In our research, we've found out that goals aren't enough. And then putting tasks around those goals isn't enough. And then getting teams together to work on the tasks to try to accomplish the goals isn't enough. We have to do a better job to stay motivated, especially as entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Little Black Couch. Everyone should be an entrepreneur. The chance to overcome obstacles, solve problems, make the world a better place, and dictate your life on your own terms is worth the risk. My name is Aaron Stewart, and I have been researching or living entrepreneurship for almost 30 years now. Welcome to the Little Black Couch, a journey in entrepreneurship.
Good morning. Hope all is well. Headed off to the office this morning. Just had a few thoughts. Looks like we got rain again today, which for the high desert is typically good. Here in Utah, that's rain in the valleys and snow in the mountains is always a good way. It's the best way to go as far as I'm concerned. Keep the snow out of the valleys if you can and keep the roads safe. But anyway, so this is something that I think about a lot, especially on mornings like this morning. It's, I had the alarm went off at 6, and I worked late last night, went till about 7 last night. I got dinner with the family and spent some time with them, and then spent some time with my wife, and then went to sleep, and I just really didn't want to get up and get moving today, and it's just, day after day after day of trying to put it through. And there'll be some of you that are far more balanced and better at this than I am. And to you, I envy you. This week has been one where I've been into the office every morning I leave the house at 6. The commute's about 10, 12 minutes. So I'm usually in the office by 6:20 or so. And I've been leaving the office somewhere between 6 and 7, just trying to get some things done and pushed over the finish line. But for the last, year and a half, 2 years, this has been pretty much what we do. The only time we've taken off in that period was to go to, we did have a little trip to Disneyland with the 4 of us. My oldest, obviously, is away from us as a church missionary, and so we had a little trip to Disneyland, and then Carol and I were obviously in Funnel Hacking Live in Nashville a few weeks ago. That was it. That's been about it. So I don't do a very good job of taking time off. I do have a problem. I am a workaholic, and I do struggle with it. And it's not for anything other than I don't know what else to do sometimes. And work gives me the opportunity to try to do something more than just my life, more than just, what I'm doing. And I think that some of us are searching for a purpose, and some of us are trying to find the next thing, and some of us feel like there's this idea that there's more out there, that there's more inside of us that we must give, and there's something that we must do. There's something that we must produce and create and give to the world to make it a better place. And if we don't figure out a way to sort of manage that, then we've got a problem. That's for sure. So that's one side of it. I mean, to schedule out time for yourself. So I mean, as far as my situation goes, I have to really force myself to do, it's sad, but I do some exercise in the office. I make sure I get out and take a walk and drink plenty of water. So I try to do those things to kind of keep myself sane. But as this morning, I can tell that I have not done enough of that this week, and I'm feeling a little beat down. Okay, so there's that side of entrepreneurship where we've probably pushed it too far, too long, and we need to take a step back and give ourselves a break. There's really no point in getting to where there's no point to getting to where I am right now, and that's exhausted and not sure if you've got enough in you to get through this day. So there's that part of it, making sure that you do a better job of taking care of that. But there's another side too, and I think that sometimes we entrepreneurs do. I know we do this, and I know sometimes when we move from being solopreneurs into being more entrepreneurial and having some folks working with us and all that, that we can tend to treat those that are working with us and around us in the same manner in which we treat ourselves. And it's exhausting, right? It's exhausting to us and it's exhausting to them. And so that, as I went through this, and again doing some reading and trying to figure out a better way, I could tell that in the folks that work with me, that everybody was sort of getting into kind of a funk, very similar to what I'm feeling today, just tired, right? Of just not getting enough wins where, you get enough wins and you start knocking the dominoes down. It feels pretty great, and that's invigorating. But you will always fall into this place where not everything's going right, and it starts to feel like a slog. And it's like, wow, if we don't get something to fall here pretty quick, it's just not very fun anymore. So that turned into this concept of mine, and I've called it the effort, not the apple, right, is this concept. So sometimes as entrepreneurs we set up, or dreamers, right, and so we'll set up and we'll have these lofty, wonderful goals that we'll set up, and we'll sit down and say, okay, when we hit these goals, it will be good, right? This is it. And we may get together with our team and say, look, this is the goal. This is what we want to do. And unfortunately, you see this a lot in, probably less so in smaller organizations, but in big organizations, the ones that I've been fortunate to work with, the big goal, you set up the big goal, and then that's kind of it. Like there's no celebration, there's no rewards, there's no nothing until you get to that big goal, right? And so everybody will sit around and look at their sales numbers. Everybody will sit around and look at different metrics to make sure that they're progressing, and then they'll quickly do some division to see if that's going to get them to their goal. But we do a very poor job of rewarding the effort. And as managers, and in this whole concept of being better managers, if we took a step back and looked at the folks that we're working with, and we have a baseline, like we know where they're at, we know who they are, we know what they've done. If we want to get more out of them, if we want to create more momentum, then we need to start recognizing when they do things above and beyond what they typically have done in the past, right? So the littlest thing. So a situation of, you noticed somebody turning in a report early, or you noticed somebody speaking, motivating somebody else, or coming into the office earlier, maybe they stayed a little late, or whatever it is. Anytime you see any effort that is above and beyond what they've done in the past, notice it, point it out, and tell them how much you appreciate it. It's when we start doing these things. So we as managers have to start getting better at first noticing when they've done something that's more than what they typically would have done in the past. And that's the total beauty of this. And when you can help when somebody feels appreciated for even the smallest thing, when they feel like somebody noticed, they may have not noticed themselves that they had given a little bit more effort. But when you point it out and you mention that to them that you appreciate it and you're sincere, and people can tell when we're not, but if you point that out and you tell them how much you appreciate it, then that changes everything. What you'll see is this. You'll see that people will start to be more conscientious in what they do, they will start putting forth more effort into different areas, and we have got to be good at noticing that when they have put forth that effort, and you'll create this sort of momentum, right, where this will start to perpetuate this behavior, this effort. And then when the effort gets rewarded and the effort is appreciated, then you will find all of a sudden that these goals are reached more quickly than you thought possible. So in a very odd way, we cannot reserve celebrating accomplishment of a goal and then forget the middle part, forget the work. But if we have our focus on the goal and we start appreciating and rewarding our team for their effort, right? Just their effort. Something that's noticeable, something that's trackable, something that can easily be, and something that's real, that's true. And then if we can appreciate them for that, watch what that does to the team. It really, really will pick up the energy and will get them moving towards that apple much more quickly. And then we can celebrate when that goal's reached as well. We can make that a big formal celebration perhaps. But all along the way, we will know that it was the little celebrations, it was the little statements of appreciation that created the momentum that got us to the point where we've reached this apple, where we've got the goal. And that's beautiful. And I will say this too, for the manager, when you take time to notice, one, you have to be very present to what's going on around you, right? You have to notice. You can't be all caught up in your head thinking about your own problems and the things that you've got to get done. You then have to take time to step back, look at the team, realize when somebody's put forth a little extra effort, and then seek them out, tell them you appreciate it, help them feel really good about what they're doing. You will feel really great about what you're doing as well. When you pick somebody else up and you let them know that you notice them and you appreciate them, that will re-energize you or energize you. Hopefully not re-energize, but sometimes we need that too. So that's sort of it. It's not the apple, it's the effort. And just take time to recognize what your team's doing and let them know that you really appreciate it. And if I haven't figured out a way to do that, but if somebody listening to this does, please let me know. We've got to figure out a way to do the same thing for ourselves. Like when we're putting forth the effort, I didn't want to get out of bed today. I did. I dragged myself. I'm now parked in front of the office. I can go in and get to work. I need to figure out a way to reward myself as well. And I will be the first to admit I'm not very good at that. I am much better at telling somebody else how much I appreciate them than I am of rewarding myself with something. Well, I guess I do. And it's usually has a high caloric. It's high caloric and high. It has a very high. Boy, it has a very, very high calories. And usually tastes pretty good. So yeah, that's not what we need. Anyway, hope you have a great day today. Hope that this has been helpful. Definitely look around. See if you can start noticing when those folks around you take a little bit more effort. It works with everybody. It works with children, works with spouses, works with everybody. When you notice them, when you see them, and you tell them that you appreciate their effort and you're specific about what that effort is, it will change their lives and it will help you feel better about your life as well, which is beautiful. All right. We entrepreneurs have a very important task to do today, and that's to go out and change the world, or continue to figure out ways to change the world and make life better for others. It's not an easy gig that we've chosen to do, but it's one that's so valiant and so important, and I'm in it with you. We are the Bruised Entrepreneurs. Thanks.